I've been down for long, they may look up to me. They look up to me. I got fake people showing fake love to me. Straight up to my face. Straight up to my face. Whee! Alright, so excuse this side of the video due to me getting a new phone and casing issues because I don't get my new case for the new phone until tomorrow night, which shucks. You're essentially seeing my old case on my old phone, on my new phone, which now shows you the problems of having that case on there, because it blurs out this side of the screen and my arm looks like it's fading, faster, which means I probably should stay on this side. So, we're going to talk about consistency, folks, and kind of just ramble on about it. So, I've been doing this YouTube thing around 8, going into 9 years, and as you've seen, for the most part, I've been pretty consistent about putting out videos. It's just that the videos that I've been trying to put out have all ranged in consistency. And what I mean by that is that either I put out videos, but I never put out the same kind of videos consistently. Like the It's Anime shit fell off, the clone fight videos, the anime reviews, even certain episode reviews of certain series. Like, I kind of fumble a lot. And a lot of people, and I remember the Anime Style when he was describing popular anime YouTube channels, and I was lucky enough to be included in that. One of the things I kept, the one thing I remember he said that sticks out in my mind even now is that I was a jack of all trades, master of none, which is fucking true. As I've gotten older and the more I've gotten into shit, I've realized that I put my hands in too much shit and don't really focus on one thing, which is one of the reasons why I have 3 separate channels that all diverge into subject matter. Like, oh, I have 3 separate channels and they all have their own separate importance, and yet if you go back and look at the history of all these channels, this channel specifically went from being a vlog channel to a fucking unboxing channel to me reviewing anime on this channel, but like certain anime, like I think, and then you look at the Insane Game Freak channel, which went from being a chapter review channel, became like a Pokemon focused channel for a while with the Best Wishes episode reviews, then went back into anime reviews, then it became a clusterfuck with the Sasada discussions and all this other shit, and now it's pretty much a gaming focused channel. I have a very bad track record of keeping my mind really focused in one particular area for too long. And granted, it's not a big deal for me because, as I said, I never really cared about YouTube being a job. I mean, if it could be a secondary source of income, then it's cool, but it's never meant to be my job. And I think the truth about being consistent is that it all depends if you have one thing you want to do. And I think a lot of the focus nowadays, even One Piece makes a reference to it, do focus on what you can do, don't focus on what you can't do. But I think that the discussion that doesn't pop up is, what if you want to do a whole bunch of different fucking things? What if you just don't want to do one thing? Well, then the problem is that you're kind of screwed. You kind of have to pick and choose which ones you want to focus on, which means certain things get left over to the wayside. I mean, I've changed as a person, so have my taste, on top of me changing on what I like to do and not to do. I've enjoyed rambling way more than I used to, which was funny because that's kind of how I started in a way. I started with rambling videos and then I went towards edited and did more editing and shit, and then as time went on, I just went right back to rambling. I like to fucking ramble and talk around and shit. As you guys have noticed, I put up 20-minute fucking videos. That's just my style, which is why I don't probably edit as nowhere near as much as I used to. Also because it's a very tedious process, and the way YouTube works nowadays, it doesn't really value editing as much. It's more so editing is something that is respected and appreciated by your audience, depending on what kind of videos you do. But like in the grand scheme of things, if you did like a reaction channel, you have no reason to really edit much at all. I mean, honestly, you could set that shit up in XSplit and record and be good to go. And I think that's what it boils down. And that's kind of my whole point here, is that like consistency only means so much depending on what it is. And I feel like there's not enough focus on if you want to do a lot of different things. Well, how do you build consistency when you're doing 1,000 different things? Let's take the things I like to do, for example. I like to watch anime. I like to play video games. I have a job. I have bills. I have responsibilities. Weight, health. I guess you could throw health and throw weight into health if you wanted to. Health, emotional relationships, mental stability, various hobbies. Because if it's not anime and manga and it's not video games, maybe you just want to talk about life. Have discussions with people. Have real life conversations. You have a lot of thoughts and ideas running around of things you want to do or things you want to try. Maybe you want to go travel. Maybe you want to try skydiving. There's a lot of things running in your mind, and people are always telling you, and when it comes to the thing you love to do, it's always like, well, be consistent with the thing you love to do. Well, how do you be consistent with things if you like doing a whole bunch of different things? I think really the only way to properly convey what you really should do in that, and this is nowhere near being considered the right answer, but the way I would look at it is as long as you're still doing something. You may not be doing everything, and it's just not possible for you to do everything, but to keep doing something. Whether it's the anime episode reviews, whether it's the discussions, whether it's the video game conversation or conversations about companies and shit. Things that, the things you enjoy doing. It's very, and it's kind of funny because I think the video I made last on this channel came off surprisingly depressing, and I knew it was going to be somber, but I forgot about the glaucoma shit and how I didn't mention that to anyone, so I know a lot of people got way sadder about that than I am about it. I mean, it bothers me, but it's not anything. It's not as depressing for me as it probably sounded to you guys, and that's just because I'm a relatively pessimistic person. I have a lot of bad personality traits, and there's a lot of things that I think about that I don't talk to you guys about. And that probably will change because I have a tendency of telling you guys a lot of fucking things. I don't hide much. If I hide things, but I don't hide much. I've just learned over these few years, over these last, I almost say almost decade, that things keep changing and you keep changing as a person. So to sit there and kind of stick yourself in this box to be consistent with this one thing that you enjoy when there are other things that you want to experience and get your hands into is just not fucking possible. I think the whole point is that you keep moving forward in some avenue. That's why you have a lot of YouTubers who grow out of YouTube in the sense that they just don't like making videos anymore, or they don't like making the certain types of videos anymore. They want to do certain types of things, and YouTube is just kind of a stage in their life. It's the same thing. It's sad to an extent because, you don't get to enjoy them in that point in time, but if you care about the person and you want to see them grow, you don't mind the change. Some people will follow you through the changes you're making in your life because they're making changes too, or because maybe you guys are meshing on a mental or emotional level. I think I've stopped worrying about being consistent, and more so I'm just concerned about doing videos I wanted to do and just talking. I think at this point I just like to talk. There's a few other topics I want to cover which are a little bit more depressing, which is why I'm going to try to balance them out with a little bit more positive videos. And yeah, because as you guys have noticed, I've not been the most consistent on this channel. This channel, ever since I made the announcement about how this channel will be more focused on societal discussions, and people were like, well, where the fuck are the societal discussions? And to be real with you, the reason why there aren't that many is because there's not that much more I can talk about without coming off as redundant. But if people want me to regurgitate some of those things or talk about them now as me of 25 years old versus me like 23, 24, 22, 21, that's perfectly fine too. I'm curious about how much I differ from these things because I don't go back and watch all those videos. The way I handle certain things, like when I first opened my Patreon, that turned from a fucking mess, which some people were still supporting me through that fucking mess of a Patreon, to a more consistent Patreon now. Same thing with my website. I made that website back in, I want to say that probably my website was probably made back in like 2011, and I just kept fucking around with it. I would come back to it occasionally, just kept fucking around with it. And it went through a whole bunch of changes, like me as a person. everyone's consistently changing. So building, I think if that's the one thing that's staying consistent is that you're consistently moving. You just may not be moving in the same direction you were earlier. And it doesn't mean you're starting over from square one as much as it just means you now have a new perspective and new look on things. And it's actually fun to go back and look at the things you used to do and try to take them on in a different perspective. I'm not an artsy guy, so I don't, when it comes to filming skits and shit, I can do it, but even now I look at my old skits and be like, I shouldn't have done that. Well, let me first, not that I shouldn't have done that, but more like, it's not the coolest thing in the world. Although even when I did it then, I didn't think it was cool. I mean, it's just things you do. It's things you do. Hell, and it kills me because even nowadays I still I didn't even mention this. Recently, I would say last weekend, I got noticed by someone when I was at Wendy's. They go, "Oh man, are you the Insane Game Freak?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, people fucking recognize me. That's interesting. It's cool as hell." Hell, I still get comments on my channel about videos about things that I really want to talk about. For example, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be uploading a video about Lala from Masu Musume on my anime channel within the next few days. Because it's just shit I want to talk about. I think I've kind of gotten out of the phase where I feel like, I wouldn't say I've gotten out. I would say I'm more comfortable letting things kind of drift off for a while. Because a lot of people realize that when it came to making videos, for me, it became an issue of, I would never, I think I remember I used to have a period where I couldn't go 3 or 4 days without posting a video. Now I can go like weeks. And it's not necessarily because I don't want to make a video, it's just more so, I don't want to force myself to make a video. If I don't feel the need to get up and talk about something, or to record it and put it up there, then to me it's a waste of time, because even if I don't care about it, I know you guys aren't going to care about it. Also, and I think even back when I made that weird video of me talking to myself, people don't realize, and I've said it before, that comes from a real place. I've done that. I think if I would have recorded myself every time I make a video, every time I have one of those moments, you guys would have had about 4 videos at this point. I've done that like 3 or 4 times already in the last week or so. It's just that some videos I don't feel are really worth recording. But I think for those who do things a certain way, and I think this is just the way I am, and there might be people out here like me, you kind of feel like you're lost and you're stuck because you're never progressing in one area as far as you want to. And I think partially is due to the fact that you guys want to put your hands in a lot of things, but you feel like you're never really moving that far in that one direction because you're constantly changing. And some people look at that as being inconsistent. Other people look at that as you being consistent, that you're consistently trying to find what's inspiring you and what's driving you. Because honestly, I feel like at least there, when you're putting your hands in a whole bunch of different things, you're at least still making some sense of progress because you're feeling your way around in the dark versus just kind of pushing and chugging ahead forward, blindly just going, I'm moving. I figured out I can do these videos really well, so I'm moving, which was where I was at when we hit the Pokemon Best Wishes stuff. I had the easiest road I could have took would it be to make more Pokemon X and Y episode reviews. I didn't want to do that, so I fucking shifted gears, and of course the views and the interest dropped because I stopped making Pokemon content, or I wasn't making Pokemon content as consistently. There are other things I want to talk about too. It's just, this video is gonna come off as rambling nonsense, but for some reason I like doing these videos, and I know some of you guys like watching these kind of videos. It's become a weird quirk of mine. I just kind of get enjoyment of just talking and kind of just expressing my mind sometimes, which is due to the circumstances of how I live my life, which can go in other ways. And actually talking about that, building consistency in small and little ways, I've realized that for me personally, and just a little health update, I guess, I'm finally going to the doctor, folks. From what I understand, guys, and I think this is pretty true, guys don't inherently try to go out of their way to go to the doctor. And it's partially just because they just don't want to deal with the bullshit that comes with going to the doctor. Whether it's the money, the potential to be labeled with a disease that could cripple you for a while, just mentally and not physically or emotionally. Sometimes just knowing you have a disease just depresses the shit out of you. I mean, it was the thing about the glaucoma stuff with me, where it was like, I knew I had eye problems, and now that I'm overly aware of it. Now, granted, I'm the kind of person who can kind of process the bullshit as best as I can without any help of like medication or any of that emotion, because I'm used to dealing with things alone. But some people can't, so I understand it. But I'm finally going to the doctor. I've started the process of just cutting shit out of my eating habits. Like, I don't drink soda. You rarely will catch me drinking a soda anymore. Unfortunately, most people have now noticed that I more substitute that with water and Powerades. But I mean, I think both of those are better options than sodas. And then I recently started cutting chips out of my eating schedule. Now the issue is not to substitute it with something else, which I've noticed I've been eating Twizzlers more often, so that's something to worry about. It's all about fucking consistency. Whether if you can't make these giant leaps like every motherfucker on the planet, make the small ones. Just keep moving. It almost feels like the damn yearly ramble in a way. But I think that was the point. People sometimes get stuck in a rut and they're like, man, I wish I was more consistent with that one thing I could do well. And that's probably because you might like doing that one thing, but you also want to do other things. And sometimes being stuck in that one mindset and doing that one thing over and over again will burn you out. That's why you think so many people have multiple YouTube channels. Some people have multiple YouTube channels because they do the same types of videos all the time. You do the same types of vlogs. You do the same types of skits. You do the same types of challenges, reactions, games. Sometimes you got to break yourself out of the monotony. And some people do it because, and a lot of people are stuck in the monotony because it's their job. If they don't stay in the monotony, then they're broke and they don't have any money and they can't move forward in life financially. So they have to. I'm distracting myself with the weird shadow that's going on. It's like a weird shadow effect. Whew. I mean, I've been doing a lot of random stuff lately. Just making changes. You're just shaking things up. I probably will post another video soonish. I'm not going to give you a specific time. I probably shouldn't even mention the La stuff, but fuck it. Because I'm probably going to record that video now, and then I'm going to go take a shower. And the people are going in the comments going to tell me, man, you really need to shave, man. You look like shit. I'm all over the place, baby. But that's how I get things done. Fade to gray. Oh, thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. And hopefully you got some entertainment out of this. Fade to gray. Oh, wait. Peace off.